In 2011, I survived a terrorist attack back in Norway that killed 69 of my friends. There was a bomb blast in the capital of Norway, in Oslo, and a mass shooting on Utøya Island. I came face to face with Breivik. We had to run from him for about 90 minutes. And during that time, he came close to shooting me twice. First, when I first saw him, he came across a little hill not so far from me, and people ran towards him, and I can't understand why they did that still, but people ran towards him, and he shot them straight down. And so I turned around and ran into the woods, and later realized that he shot after my group. And then once in the woods, I picked up an 8-year-old boy who had lost his father, and the 8-year-old and I hid on the ground, and I partially laid on top of him, covering his mouth because we couldn't be revealed. Every few seconds we could hear gunshots. And then after lying there for a while, a group of people came running through where we were, and there was another young boy in that group, so I took the 2 boys and ran with the group along the track until we had to leave the track because it was covered in a pile of the dead bodies of friends who had been executed. And that's kind of when I realized the horror of what was happening, because in that pile was also a cell phone ringing, and it kind of just reminded me that someone outside was trying to reach someone who would never be able to pick up again. And I think that's quite a life-changing moment in many ways. We ended up running to the southern tip of the island, from where we could see boats on the water, helicopters in the air, and like the longest line of emergency vehicles you could ever imagine. And so we ended up sitting down on the rocks that lead out into the water, trying to signal the helicopters and try to get some help. And then out of the woods behind us came a man wearing a police uniform, and he told us they'd caught the bad guy. And then as he did that, he lifted his gun and started shooting at my group again. And I jumped straight in the water, swam straight outwards, and sank because I was wearing a massive Norwegian woolen jumper. And I pulled that off and stood back up in the water and looked back towards land, and there I saw Breivik take aim at my head. And for a moment, I thought this was my last moment. This was my final seconds, and he fired. And he missed, and I fell over in the water again, and the boys and I managed to swim around some rocks and hide in the water while Breivik went back up onto the island where he got arrested minutes later. The experience did change me. It's been a difficult path kind of back to life after feeling like I was dead. I came to terms with the fact that this was my last moment, and rebuilding from that has been an enormous challenge. For a little while there, Breivik became this massive person in my mind, and in the mind of pretty much everyone in Norway, I think. For a while, people wouldn't say his name and started saying he who shall not be named instead. And having grown up on Harry Potter, I kind of realized that that is giving the name a power that a name shouldn't have. It's giving a man a power a man shouldn't have. It's making him into something more than what he actually is. Extremism is not just jihadism. It doesn't just come from one religion or one ideology. It doesn't just come from one place. It's something that can happen everywhere and in every society. But I also think we've forgotten that to a large extent by now. How do I feel towards Breivik? It's difficult to kind of describe how I feel towards him, because mostly it's indifferent. Breivik is not important in my story at the moment. I should reclaim my life and stand up in defiance against the hatred that he showed by showing more love, by being a better part of my community, of my world, and try to push back against those things. And working towards that goal has given me an enormous strength.